Welcome to a bonus episode of the Coast to Coast AFL podcast, Mindic and Plays. In this bonus episode, we're just talking about the Brownlow, about the potentially surprising win of Matt Rowell taking home Charlie, the journey that we kind of took to getting here. We also cover the Mark of the Year and Goal of the Year and how controversial they kind of ended up being. We also talk about the Jim Stynes Community Award and the Rising Star as well, and we will also kind of rattle through each of the teams and talk about where they finished up in the total tallies. So let's jump into it. How are you doing, Mr. Sarek?
Not that bad since the last time you asked me. Didn't really get up to that much. But yeah, went to the doctors. That's about it. Also didn't watch the Brownlow. I just sat on my couch and watched other people complain about it, and I'm like, yeah, that's the entertainment aspect to me. I said last stream, Brownlow vote sometimes a bit silly.
Yep.
And I think that's sort of what we got tonight. You know, as I said, it's like a winner who was relatively near enough to the best player of the year or somewhere thereabouts, and 1 year not too far away. Won it. He deserves to win a Brownlow in his career. Was he the best player of the year? Yes, no, maybe, who cares? But yeah, as I said, just give the umpire some stats or let someone else do it. Umpiring and judging players is too hard. It's too hard.
We may as well just jump straight into it. It's already yapping about it. Yeah, Matt Rowell winning the Brownlow, and it was definitely a couple of games where on the stat sheet he was probably a little bit more criticized for getting votes where he probably shouldn't have. But otherwise, I think it's very much well deserved. He had an outstanding season, especially in that first half.
Yeah, as I said, I don't think anyone would be too worried if those two votes weren't as high, and he still would have probably won it, even if those two votes, because he won by a small margin.
I think it was like 7 onto Dacos, something like that.
Yeah, so even if he didn't have those couple, there was a fair chance he was winning. Obviously, the flip side meaning other favourite Noah Anderson got all his votes taken away by the chip monster in Rowell. Absolute scenes there. I don't think it matters. But yeah, as I said, it's a very good midfield unit in a good midfield season in a team run by the midfield. Won the Brownlow with a ridiculous 39 points.
Yeah, and the fact that his captain Noah Anderson wasn't that far behind either, with a fairly respectable 29, 28 points, I think.
25.
25? Oh, yeah. Okay, it's still a fair margin. But, top 10, two Suns in the top 10, very, very, very good for them. And it shows it also shows that the system that Dimmer has been working on with them for this season has been working.
At least in the midfield unit.
Yeah. We have issues in other areas, but
I mean, no, in terms of the system, the link up, I think we're seeing more reward for effort, and that's what sort of made the difference between other years. Like, this wasn't just like a Gary Ablett Jr., like literally shouldering everything. He had a very good system, had a wide variety of players still pole. And as I said, it was a good result for the Suns in general, and a fantastic result for Matt Rowell, who, again, is around there good enough to win the Brownlow.
Yeah, absolutely. The top 10 in total, might as well talk about them here. So we had Nick Dacos sitting at second. Thoughts? You have any thoughts on Dacos?
I thought you were going to say how many votes he had.
With 32 votes.
32 votes. Yeah, I thought he was going to win it. I think predicting him to come second is... I think that was a fair prediction. Might always be the bridesmaid. As I said, some of those things we all said about Bontempelli. It doesn't matter, he got second. He'll just win one in a few years, and then we know what's happened with him. So could he be the cursed person? I don't know, but you'll be surprised if he wouldn't win a Brownlow medal, especially if Collingwood are there and abouts next year.
Yeah, pretty much. Bailey Smith, third, 29 votes.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, this I could easily see this being his highest tally. I could easily see this being a flash in the pan season, but I can also see him contend a bit later. He definitely has come back a lot faster than I thought he would, playing a year of football. So says a lot about his talent.
Agreed. Like the fact
I'm
that
guessing it's actually probably the most votes from a player after they've taken a year off. That would be a
oh,
niche
I would say
category.
so. I would say that's pretty accurate. And the fact that like when you're in that Geelong midfield, when you have to play alongside a player like Max Holmes, who also got a fair
Mm.
amount of votes himself, didn't make top 10 though. Like it is a really really tough team to really kind of stand out with, really.
Yeah, talking about it, I could have a little check. Ooh, good, good, good. He did get recognised. We'll see it going through, but
Yes.
I want to make sure another midfielder at least got a couple of votes this year, and he did. So
In fourth position is Jordan Dawson with 27 votes. We expected him to poll highly, kind of being one of the more standout players in the Adelaide outfit. Um,
mm.
but yeah, I definitely agree that because of the lower periods that he had, like he definitely wasn't the front runner for the Brownlow.
Honestly, I reckon his is one of the more accurate Brownlow representations in terms of like where he scored his big votes. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how they scored him.
Yeah, so am I. Andrew Brayshaw breaking into the top 5 on 26 votes.
Yeah, pretty good apart from like a tiny bit in the middle of the season. I don't have seen his face, but I imagine that's where his vote spreading is.
I would assume a lot of the votes, especially for him and Caleb Sarong, which I'll touch on in a second, likely would have come from the latter half of the season when they had that huge run streak.
No, 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 it's former.
It
They had
is?
a big start. Their
Oh,
midfield
true, they
actually dropped
did.
off.
That's right.
It's weird because, yeah, as I said, it was really their tolls that bailed them out in that run home.
Mm,
So, Big Boy Jackson, we'll talk about him later,
yes.
was featuring in a lot of those.
Into seventh position. Wait, hang on. No, sixth position. Sorry. Noah Anderson got 25 votes, 1 vote behind the top 5.
Again, I just thought he started really well. Like, I thought straight away that he was a chance, but yeah, they didn't give him any votes in the early part of the year, so here's what it is.
Marcus Bontempelli, our lone king, who may never ever get a Brownlow, which is very sad, sitting also on 25 votes.
Never say never, but 25 for what is it, like 14, 15 rounds is pretty good.
This is true. He missed
Solid
out
enough.
on a bunch of footy early on with an injury. That's when Libba stepped up massively and probably took a lot of his votes that probably could have been his if he played.
Probably 5 rounds, I think it was. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5.
And
I think
then
he had that free vote on his first game back.
that sounds about right. He had a monster performance. I remember it. It was a huge game for
Yeah.
him. Caleb Sarong also gets 25 votes, making seventh position.
Apart from a few games where he got tagged, a very, very consistent season.
And the one of the more interesting ones, but this especially because everyone, even the Melbourne players, said that he probably should have gotten 3 votes. In the game against them, the Miracle at Marvel, as it has been dubbed, Nazaya Wanganeen
Mm.
Mellera with 23 votes. I do on
Yeah.
this one though, and in that game specifically, I do actually kind of agree with how the umpires judged it because, like, Jack Viney was a monster with his tackling pressure pretty much for the first 3 quarters.
Nah. Just nah. You gotta give it to Naz.
I mean,
Plus,
you probably
Viney
do.
also let the Naz also let the last play. Not Naz. Viney also let the last play happen. Like, I
True.
get tackling pressure,
That
but
is
like
true.
in a scrap game, there's gonna be a lot of tackles. Like, I get that having a high
Yeah, but
tackle
he had
count's
like
good, but
18, didn't
like,
he? Like, it was huge.
yeah, before goals in a low-scoring game, kicking the winner, very clutch.
Yeah,
I
alright.
suppose so. You looking past
Alright.
it. Yeah.
But
Look, I respect Varney, and I
yeah.
don't think it matters, but
No, I mean, for a player, whose contract was very much up in the air for a majority of the season, he let his footy do the talking, and Brownlow votes kind of
yeah,
represent that.
yeah, and just basically when he was allowed in the middle. As I said, it's funny. was sort of, you're in the midfield now. You're allowed to get votes, because there was a few in the first part of the season where he probably could have got a few more.
He definitely could have gotten a few more if they let him off of halfback. Like, that's where he was stuck for a
Yeah.
fair bit. It's where I had issues with him.
Oh, I just mean, like, yeah, he was probably in the contention for maybe 2 in some of those 1 votes, but again, that's neither here nor there.
True.
Still
And
a
then,
decent total.
speaking of Melbourne, our last player to break into the top 10 is Max Gawn, of all people. Also on 23
Yeah,
votes.
exactly. I mean, by far Melbourne's best player.
Oh, yeah.
And a really solid effort for a ruckman
He was
in
like
the
their
modern
only
day.
player for a while there.
Yeah, as I said, best for a ruckman in the modern day to get that many votes, even just a pure ruck, not a goal kicking ruck like Luke Jackson you could claim to be. 23 is a very solid effort.
Yeah, I completely agree. So congratulations to Matt Rowell being the second ever Gold Coast Sun to win a Brownlow Medal. For the first one, obviously, being Gary Ablett Jr., who else would have guessed? And the second number 1 draft pick to also win a Norms with a Brownlow Medal. Fun fact.
Yeah, here's the other one.
It's in the article.
someone...
Let me quickly find it. I was reading.
Hang on. I think it's something weird. It wasn't. No, Adam Kearney wasn't a first. It was.
Are you sure about
that? Oh, was it
that?
Kearney?
It was Kearney, 2008.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking it was something weird like Kearney. I was tossing up between Kearney and Woden, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, there you go. Just a neat little tidbit of information right there. All right, next on our list is we're going to go through team by team and just take a look at everyone's Brownlow tallies, the highs and the lows from across the season, starting with the Adelaide Crows because they are directly on top. They got 93 votes in total, with obviously Jordan Dawson leading the pack with 27 votes, as we had mentioned.
Am I going to list them or?
I mean, I'm just going to casually talk through them. Like, we don't have to fully list them.
Oh, yeah. No, John Dawson, absolutely fantastic. And then, the usual people around it. Isaac Rankin, big burst players. Again, 15 votes. Riley Phil, 14 votes. Ben Keys gets a few ones. And then the weirder ones, Mark Keane gets his first career votes, as well as Josh Worrell, which, as I said, it was a bit surprising because I don't remember Worrell actually getting that many possessions until that final series. Keane obviously had a few intercept games. So, congratulations to both of them. Another Irishman on the Brownlow tally.
Yes, absolutely. The one interesting bit about this was that wasn't Rankin suspended for round 24? Or was he just out for round 24?
Yeah, I think that because they just didn't predict him to be up there, they weren't actually going to bother mentioning it. But it is weird. I mean, you would imagine he would be ineligible, but I mean, again, it's one of those things where if it doesn't, I think it's just like typical AFL. Like, if they don't mention it, they don't have to draw attention to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that's fine.
The AFL has, I mean, I would rather than come up and say, yeah, he's ineligible for the Brownlow, even if it is a bit silly. But, as I said, the AFL just doesn't like taking matters into their own hands.
Big man Riley Philthorpe, though, getting a lot of his votes in the second half of the season.
Yeah, that's a bit weird because actually his goals sort of dried up a tiny bit in that period, but it was sort of his ruck work as well, getting a lot of clearances as well. So, again, with the theory, once you get in the middle, you get allowed to get votes.
Pretty much. All right, jumping over to Brisbane, full team total is 98 votes, with Hugh McCluggage leading the pack with 21.
Yeah, and again, the usual contenders, it's all midfielders. Neil, 16, Zorko, 14, Ashcroft, 11, Dunkley, 7. Cam Rayner even coming in with 6. And, as I said, a lot of the French ones were the big defensive performances at various parts of the year. Logan Morris, Darcy Wilmot, Jasper Fletcher, and Jack Payne all getting career votes. Darcy Gardner, unfortunately, saving his best efforts in a final, so he will not be getting that first Brownlow vote. We
No
mentioned that
Brownlow
on the
vote, but
podcast.
finals are where it matters the most.
Yeah, exactly. So coast to coast recognition, but not in the Brownlow tally. But that's probably fair. I can't remember a significant Gardner game before that, but yeah, got to see Jack Payne on there.
Also
One of
good to
those
see
players
Harris
that you
Andrews
just
get
sort of
recognised. You know, it's not very often a fullback will get recognised for a Brownlow.
I mean, Jack Payne's also fullback, really. I just think because Jack Payne was someone that you thought might be delisted a few years ago, so
True.
it's always nice to see him come together. But yeah, Darcy Wilmot, I expect to see him come into the Brownlow a bit more. I think he's a very dangerous, still capable defender that's turning into a decent pole user.
Agreed. All right, jumping down to Carlton now, with their total vote tally of 60. Patrick Cripps, of course, leading the way as he normally does on 19 votes.
Yeah, and sort of a weird one because a lot of their games are close. I think they had a lot of split votes. Not very high tally. Obviously, not that many wins, but Patrick Cripps is obviously the big name. Hewitt, obviously, Harry McKay, when he got his body right, had a few big bags. Then Tom de Koning. It's good to see him get a few nods. And then it's all the usual subjects, except for Brody Kemp, who randomly got a vote. First one in his year. And Charlie Curnow apparently finished with his lowest of one in his career. So
I'm just glad that Jacob Wiedering got a bit of recognition. Like he did so much for that back line when they were struggling.
Yeah, I don't think it was his best year, but I think in a year where, yeah, as I said, he had to defend more than usual, he was held up there. I don't know what that game would have been, but yeah, as I said, he had a few significant games there.
Round 6 is that one vote from? I can't remember what game that was either, but it clearly was important because I think they
It
won.
wasn't against Geelong, was it?
It was good, definitely one of the games they won because Hewitt got 3, Chera got 2, and Wiedering got 1. So it's clearly important somewhere.
That's my hunch. It was the Geelong game, but who knows?
Yeah, maybe. All right, jumping down to Collingwood now. Nick Dacos obviously leading the votes with 32, and their total vote tally being 83.
Yes, and equalisation is in full effect. Both the father-sons chopping up the Brownlow count with Josh Dacos on 12. Still side bottom. His early part of the year where I put him in my halfway All-Australian. Very reflected. All his votes coming from the first half of the season at 11. Jamie Elliott, probably could add a few more on 9. And then all of them are fairly minor ones. Bobby Hill gets his first Brownlow vote. And Dan Houston had the weirdness of polling in his debut game for free and then not featuring in the end of the season. He was ineligible because of last year's suspension as well.
Because that carried over to round
bit of
1,
a weird quirk.
which is
yeah. So technically,
which is why
both Brownlow years he was out of it, which is a bit harsh when you think about it.
Just a bit.
I would have thought that you should start with a clean slate. It's carrying over, but you would have thought that you did the action last year. You ruled out with 1. Yeah, no one else. Typically, Dan McStay has got a vote, but it wasn't his first Brownlow vote. So
I'm very glad that Jack Crisp got recognition, a 3-voter, like in the middle of the first half of the season. Very good from him. But otherwise, not too much more to really mention on that one. Lockie Schultz getting a 3-voter as well. Fairly solid. But let's jump down to the Bombers. With a full total vote tally of 40, with Captain Zach Merritt, despite what's going on outside of the 4 walls of the club, he finished the total on 14.
Yes, and a very low second tally with Nick Martin on 6, Andrew McGrath on 6, and Sam Durham on 4. Yeah, I might as well go for them all. Peter Rudd on 3, Dylan Shield 3, Cardwell 2, Mason Redman with his first Brownlow votes on 2. He wants to find a new home, apparently, like maybe the top medalist. So, yeah, Essendon, a bit of retooling, but very hard to get Brownlow votes when you're not having too many close games as they pass the middle of the season. So pretty lean year for him. Zach Merritt is a gun. Probably not. It's weird. Like, he wasn't as relied upon as heavy as other. Yet he's double the next person. So, yeah.
Yeah, there isn't really too much to really talk about in that regard. Like, we know how spirited the Bombers were in the first half. Even when the injuries had started to pile on, and they had some really solid performances, like the game against Port Adelaide was very solid. I believe they won that one, didn't they?
Yes.
And then there's a couple of other games in there. I vaguely remember them.
Sydney, I think.
Yeah, I think it was a game against Sydney at Marvel. That was really solid for them as well. So that's probably where those sorts of games are probably where Zach Merritt got most of his 3 votes from. But otherwise, yeah, there isn't really too much to cover with the Bombers. So let's jump over to Fremantle with a very, very impressive voting tally this season. Total votes of 88, with Andrew Brayshaw leading the pack with 26, Caleb Sarong close behind on 25.
Yeah, and going through again, the person I mentioned before, Luke Jackson, getting in those big haul goals, boosting his tally at 17. He was a very influential part of why they won a few of those last season games. So surprises there. I was surprised Josh Tracy didn't get any, because there were a couple of games late where he kicked him through, but he only ended up with 4. As did Jordan Clark. Probably could have got a few more, but again, halfbackers are like midfielders, except they aren't allowed Brownlow vote. Yeah, nothing too exciting apart from that. Patrick Voss got a 3-bagger for his first Brownlow votes, and yeah, as I said, delisted from Essendon to racking up Brownlow votes. I think this was a year to remember for him.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately ineligible because he did something at some point in the year. I think it was a slam tackle. It was a bit disappointing. He started off hot. He was missing a few. Slammed someone into the ground, and then came out like a house on fire. So got him a Brownlow, but
I don't think he was ever in the running of the Brownlow anyway.
Nah, just a fraction behind.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Maybe Reid also, of course, by virtue of it being his first year, got a Brownlow vote.
Yes. And also, we will probably talk about it in a moment, but also won the Rising Star. So getting a Brownlow vote and the Rising Star Award in your first year, fantastic. Shows you're on a good career path. Jumping down now to Geelong, and with a total vote tally of 99, Bailey Smith, of course, leading the pack with 29 votes. And Jeremy Cameron coming in second for the Geelong list with 20.
Yeah, not too surprising. Max Holmes in third spot with 18. Dangerfield, you forgot how good his start of the season was. All votes early. And as for the weird ones, I mean, Mark Blitzar's got a free voter. Always good to see him do that. George Stevens polled in his debut game, apparently, securing 1 vote for his 21 disposals. I don't think he played much after that. He was just there and sort of gone again. I think he maybe played 2 games this season, maybe 3.
Potentially, I can't remember.
But that's a Brownlow vote in a third of your games, if that's true. So, big win there. Yeah, a few. I don't think there's any debut ones. Shan Neal got a couple. Apparently not his first Brownlow votes. SDK got recognised at the start of his season and then turned into a backman, so he wasn't allowed Brownlow votes.
Yep.
And Tommy Atkins. I was a person who I was wanting to see if he at least polled a bit. Got 3 votes. Always love to see it.
Yes, absolutely. I'm very surprised at how many players actually polled votes for Geelong. Like, it shows that how much depth they actually have in terms of like really high talented players that actually do well across the ground.
And really. I know technically it's only 8 votes, but I'm glad to see Graham Myers poll a few, because I think he had like some really, really big impact games, but he always does. Like he gets like 3 goals, sets up about 11, but then gets 0 Brownlow votes because like, oh well, Cameron kicked 5. So
yeah,
he can only give it to 1 forward.
Yeah, it's for the most part, it's likely always going to be Cameron, because as soon as he gets his hand on the ball, fair chance it's going through those big sticks.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, jumping down to the Gold Coast Suns, who have pretty much their sort of career, their existing best season at the Brownlow, with obviously Matt Rowell winning it out with 39 votes and their total vote tally being 95.
Yeah, Noah Anderson, we mentioned before, with 25, and then it is a big drop off, but an even spread. Tuk got 8, especially in that first half of the year where he was playing half forward. He was absolutely fantastic. Ben King had enough holes to get 7, and John Noble as well, new recruit, getting 4. Good to see. Unfortunately, the other new recruit that, again, it just goes to show like how weird we were. Like, Danny Rioli should be big. John Noble's nice, and yet John Noble
It ended
for
up going the other way.
Brownlow votes. Yeah, it's a fairly solid year, and Rioli was just serviceable. Not bad, but play often seemed to be running more through Noble. So, yeah, really big there. Bailey Humphries apparently is a first-time polar, and Braden Fiorini is a still continuing to be around the AFL despite looking like his career may or may not end with one AFL Brownlow vote.
Good to see Ned Long get some recognition. Sorry, that is Ned Long, right? Ben Long, sorry. Ned Long is Collingwood. Good to see Ben Long getting some recognition with 1 vote. Bailey Humphrey getting 2 is also very good. Sam Collins, when he came back from injury, getting 2 votes, very solid. Jared Witts, their number 1 ruck.
Ben Long had a much better start of the season. I'm surprised he didn't get some early, but again, Matt Rowell.
Yeah, when you're contending against Matt, Rowell, King, Miller, like, what can you do?
Yeah, it's like, it seems there's about 5 of these 95 votes that have gone to non-midfielders in the first half of the season. So, 7. Sorry, I forgot Ben King. Rough math.
Yeah, rough. Yeah. That's majority of the votes literally went to Rowell, Anderson, Miller. So you can't really say too much more.
Yeah.
Jumping over now.
Talking about it all going to the midfield.
Yeah, the GWS Giants, with total votes of 82. Finn Callaghan leading the way with 21 votes, and Tom Green close behind on 20.
That was very weird. When Callaghan wasn't getting him, Green was getting him. So, I actually thought Callahan's first half of the year was, or start of the year might have gotten a few more votes, but it's about what I expect from him. Tom Green was very solid for the first half of the year as well. So, yeah, no surprise there. 2 very, very good midfielders. Lockie Ash, too, getting some votes late, surprisingly. Again, I would have thought his first half of the season was a tiny bit better, but that's just going off memory. Aaron Cadman gets some from getting a big haul. Cullen Brown with a random 2 votes. He had a couple of really good games. I vaguely remember, I think he scored like a 4-goal game in that.
Yes, there was a period of time there where he became like a leading goal kicker for a bit.
Yeah, it was very weird. He was very up and down in form for the years. And apparently, Lucky Ash earning his first career votes.
And Cadman, of course, with his career votes.
Oh, yeah, of course, Cadman too. Okay, that's the only 2.
Lockie Whitfield with a random 1 vote in the middle of the year.
Yeah, well, I said, only 1 halfback is allowed to be Brownlow eligible. So once they decided Whitfield wasn't winning it, Lockie Ash was allowed to take votes.
Pretty much. And yeah, like, even though Josh Kelly had a very, like, kind of 50-50 middle of the year, like, he got recognised early for some really, really solid work, which is good to see.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's hard because the Browns, the Giants were so up and down in form too.
Speaking of the Browns, on to Hawthorn next, with a total vote tally of 80. John Newcomb led the way with 17 votes and was by far and away pretty much their best tallier, best voter.
Well, yeah, because it's like the weakest midfield. It's the weakest midfield of the final series. So they just gave a few to Newcomb and then just spread out the votes.
There's a lot of players here, which I'm very surprised about.
At all ends of the ground, too. So I think that actually speaks. Like, Sam Mitchell would love that. The fact that, as I said, and a lot of players getting their first votes. Their next stars with James Sicily on 9. Gunston and Ward finished on the same amount, which is a bit weird, but I think Ward's had a few really good games. I just surprised Gunston didn't get a few more. And then it's a very long mix of players. It looks like there's about 11 or 12 unique players. 16.
12,
16
players.
is in the write-up.
And literally all of these players, except maybe Cam McKenzie, are in their best 22, which is very, very impressive, honestly.
Cam McKenzie, 3 votes. I gotta look at that game. I can't remember a peak Cam McKenzie game, but I could imagine it. They had some good outside things, but yeah. So Josh Ward, Josh Battle, Lloyd Meek, and Cam McKenzie all polled their first career votes. Lloyd Meek, you love the good big man. He finished on 4 for what was a pretty solid year.
Yeah, I'm just flabbergasted at 16 players getting recognized, honestly. But like, yeah, you've got Jarman Impey and Carl Amon, they're hard runners off of halfback. You've got Massimo D'Ambrosio, the hard runner on the wing, as well as James Warble you've got in there. You've got Josh Weddle in there. Will Day, when he wasn't injured, got some votes, which is good for him. Blake Hardwick got recognized for a game. We got Scholl got recognized for a game. Like, the fact that it's so spread out and at both ends, like the fact that Josh Battle, recruit, by the way, got recognized, is crazy. Like,
also,
granted, obviously, they probably would have preferred to be playing in the grand final this week, but
yeah,
like when you look at it in terms of the long term, and you see what the umpires see in terms of Brownlow voting, I guess this is a positive sign. This is a very positive sign.
Yeah, exactly. Also, I like to say, even a few players that didn't exactly have the best 2025, like D'Ambrosio, not quite as good as last year. Dylan Moore, not quite good as last year. Even James Warple, still getting votes means that, Sam Mitchell can get these players, even if they're not playing at 100% for the season, but can get a very high performance out of them from times. And I think that's why they were so consistent this year.
Yeah, I completely agree. All right, jumping now down to Melbourne, and with a total of 65 votes, Max Gawn leading the way, obviously breaking into the top 10 with 23 votes, and Christian Petrarca, the good Italian man, on 16.
Yeah, so less than half the amount of votes that or votees that Hawthorn got with 7. As said, Max Gawn led with 23, Christian Petrarca on 16. Cosy Pickett, very good season, had a few big games. A lot of his was 3s with 10. Jack Viney had a very lean middle part of the year, but first game was really good and had a couple good games at the end. And yeah, not much else to say. Christian Salem got votes. That's all right. Again, someone who's always threatening to be a consistent player, but unfortunately injuries sort of held him back. And Jakey Melksham getting a couple of Brownlow votes too. Always good fun to see.
And Jake Bowie getting a 3-vote score, as well as his first ever Brownlow votes, which is from the Anzac Eve clash against Richmond.
Oh, okay. I missed that. I assumed that he'd already got Brownlow votes. So.
No, it's very first one. It's very, very exciting to see for the Demons. Jumping over to North Melbourne, and with a total of 45 votes, LDU, Luke Davies-Uniacke, leads their pack with 11, with Harry Sheasel coming in second on 10.
And you said that Tristan Cherry was almost in All-Australian contention. Pathetic 7. Wow, Blaze.
I mean, to be fair, like, it was between him, Grundy, and Gawn. And when you look at Grundy's second half, it was kind of knocked him out of contention. I know, but like there is reasoning for it.
Yeah. But honestly, Cherry had a fantastic year, and as I said, I don't think these 7 Brownlow votes quite reflect that. I think Davies-Uniacke had some really good games. I think his last half of the year was better. Sheasel, it's weird. I think some of his 40 games, get Brownlow votes. But I honestly think some of his lower total games were a bit better. Not saying those 40s were bad, like they're still Brownlow gettable, still very important, but Yeah, as I said, I think there's more to his game than just racking up disposals. Some of the halfback movement was better when he was getting the ball off halfback rather than the midfield.
Mhm.
Jai Simpkin, apparently 6 votes. Back in as the highest he's polled since 2022, apparently. So yeah. Tom Powell as well getting his first Brownlow votes, as well as Charlie Comben. Both with Powell's on 5 and Charlie Comben's on 1. So Powell probably one person that they're wanting to get involved in their midfield a bit more. So good to see him still get a few.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also good to see Nick Larkey and Cam Zohar, their two main forwards of the season, getting recognised. Larkey early on because he did suffer with a long-term injury during the second half of the season. But Cam Zohar getting one is very good. I'm a little bit surprised that Paul Curtis didn't get recognised at all because I
Yeah, I
thought
was
he
a
had a
bit
good
gonna
middle
say
half.
that.
But
Oh, first half, yeah.
oh
I was
yeah,
like
first
a
half.
bit before his suspension and a couple of games after.
Yeah. But otherwise, I think very good for North. Considering where they currently sit in terms of just the ladder and as a team structure, etc., etc. That's a whole other off-season conversation. But
Yeah.
speaking of another team with a whole other off-season conversation, we're on to Port Adelaide now. With
Oh
a
man.
total votes of
Oh,
60,
sorry, you
with
go.
Zach Butters leading the way with 21.
Not a bad haul considering how garbage Port were for a fair chunk of the year. Connor Rosie, the next best on 16. Jason Horn-Francis on 10. Mitch Uriadis, few holes, gets him 5, and the rest are very scattered. Asava Radagalia getting his first Brownlow votes in that win against Melbourne, where he had an absolute field day, a lot of intercepts, and a good lockdown performance. It's about what you would expect, really. Mainly just the midfielders and Mitch Georgiadis, because Mitch Georgiadis was the most targeted forward.
Yep.
So we basically strong-armed him into getting a few votes. But yeah, honestly, I think Rosie his performances was sometimes overstated, but I think because a lot of his were 3s and 2s, I think that was fairly accurate. When he was on, he had a few good games. They were just a bit few and far between, whereas often Zach Butters was by far our best player,
Mm-hmm.
but Port just didn't win enough games, really.
Yeah, that's pretty much the reality of it. Speaking of
Yeah.
teams that did not win enough games, time for Richmond, and with a total vote tally of 33, Tim Taranto led our way with 20 votes, with our last 4 players being 5, 4, 2, and 2. And honestly, I'm not surprised that this went the way that it did. Um, Tim
Yeah.
pretty much did most of the hard work in that midfield. Again, a lot of his votes came prior to when Prestia came back from his injury. I'm surprised he didn't actually poll the vote at all, even though we lost most of our second half games.
Yeah, I just think, I'm not even sure if he featured in a win. No, he must have.
He did, I think.
Yeah.
And
Because
even
he
then,
had
he
that win
probably
against
could. He
North
probably
or
should have
Western.
polled a vote
Yeah.
in the game against the Giants, which I think is the
Yeah.
game where Taranto got 3 and Hopper got 2, off the top of my head. But otherwise, yeah, it's like this is pretty much what I expected. Nick Vlauston again, like should have been All Australian defender. Like he did so much work for us. Prior to getting
Oh,
injured
yeah.
in the latter half of the
It
second.
really reminded me of McGovern 2024. Maybe not quite as good as that year, but still right up there.
Yeah. Sam Banks getting recognised. I'm very happy with. He's done a lot of hard work. When he switching over to halfback. Especially with having to also run along the wings sometimes due to Hugo Ralphsmith obviously not being out there. Toby Nankervis getting recognised in round 1. I'm not surprised. Again, fantastic ruck performance by him in that game against Carlton. But otherwise, this is pretty much what I expected. Maybe Prestia probably could have seen get a vote in that second half. Maybe I wouldn't be surprised if Sam Lawler possibly could have polled a vote early on. But otherwise, this is very solid from us.
Yeah.
Over to St Kilda now, and as we have previously said, Isaiah Wanganeen-Miller are leading their pack with 23 votes, by far and away their best player, with a total vote tally of 55 as the team.
Yeah, and I don't say this is like a Hawthorn, like really good that they have a huge spread. It really feels like the Saints just random players at times took the game by the scruff, but it's still good to see. By the looks of it, seems like about 11 players for 55 votes, which is pretty decent. Yeah, McRae next ice on 8 and Sinclair, obvious one. Windhager, it's good to see him poll a few good votes. Wilkie got 3. Probably could add more at times. And the rest are fairly random. Max Hall got his first. Wait, what?
I'm pretty sure it's his
It
first
doesn't
career
say
vote,
him.
but it doesn't
I would have
say.
thought so. Yeah, it doesn't. I'm gonna guess it is. I just can't see him
Same
because
with
he didn't
Garcia. I'm
play
pretty sure it's
last.
Garcia's first career vote as well.
Yeah, but Garcia at least played last year. I didn't think Hall played much.
No,
If at all
he
last
didn't.
year.
I'm pretty sure he debuted this season.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, you can read it. I'm done with studying. This
Yeah,
is on the fly.
Saints don't have to. There isn't really too much to cover with the Saints. We know how their season went.
Yeah.
But with a team that could have had a potential miracle run to the finals, former grand final finalists, the Sydney Swans, with a total vote tally of 64. Chad Warner leading the way with 21 votes.
Yeah, and a bit weird Isaac Heaney only got 17. I think his year was a bit better than that, but I think Isaac Heaney's year was slightly underrated. Nick Blakey, 7. Pretty much for the latter half of the year, run off halfback once that opened up when Errol Goulden, who got 6 for basically only a handful of games, are really good to see. Yeah, I don't think there's any new voters there. Hayden McLean got a vote. He was, it was. I guess that was good for him because he deserved a bit of recognition for being like the only tall forward surviving in that forward line.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean that's good for him. And obviously Grundy racked up in the back end of the season when he went off the chain.
Yeah, Earl Golden, when he came back from injury, also managed to rack up a couple of votes, which is not surprising at all. We figured that he probably would have been recognised considering how explosive he was
Yeah,
when he came back. Will Hayward getting recognised early is a good sign. James Rowbottom getting recognised around a couple of games in that first half, also very good. But yeah, that's about the even kind of spread you expected from Sydney. Again, Warner and Heaney did most of that hard work through that midfield, even
mm.
in the games where they really, really struggled.
Yeah, exactly.
Jumping now down to West Coast, and it's not looking good for the Eagles, but we kind of expected it. With 12 votes in total, Harley Reid led the way, well, actually tied the way with 3 alongside Liam Ryan. Then 2 votes apiece to Brody Hoff and Liam Baker, and 1 vote apiece to Elijah Hewitt and Ryan Marriage.
Harley Reid being the only player to get votes in multiple games.
Mm-hmm.
And they were very efficient because one game they got 1, 2, and 3, which I can't only imagine was that random win against St Kilda.
I would assume that would be
Um,
their only win. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, I mean they got that going for them, but it was their lowest total in their 15. Oh, sorry, their the lowest vote tally in the 3-2-1 system, which they broke their own record in set 3 years ago, which in a what do you call it? A longer season and a Brownlow inflated season is pretty staggering, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a big shock.
But yeah, as I said, honestly, not the worst team that they've put out in their entire history. So
No, especially
yeah.
in the latter half, we did see little bits of improvement, especially in terms of having a brand new coach, first year coach. You expect them to have a lot of hiccups to work through, considering the stuff that they've had to deal with over the past couple of years. Um,
Yeah.
so, but we have seen some positive little tidbits that they can very much build upon, going into the next couple of years when hopefully they will be back to at least being a middle of the pack team at minimum.
It'll be
Hopefully.
hopeful, but yeah. I still reckon 2024 was worse than them.
Yeah, I
But
agree. I think
they did
2024
have
was
less
worse.
good players. You know what I mean? It's just that they had Yo running around trying to bail them out and McGovern, so I guess it does set you back a bit. Anyway, talking about a team who isn't set back.
You have gone a little bit
West,
robotic.
yeah.
I no, I mean like your mic is actually robotic. I don't know how.
Yeah. I thought you were just saying personality.
No, I mean your mic is like messing up the recording.
No, it happens at times. It happens at times.
All right,
I think it's
we'll work through it
There
whilst
we
you
go.
fix it. Now on to our last team, of course, the Western Bulldogs, with a total vote tally of 90. Marcus Bontempelli leading the way, of course, with 25 votes, and Tomlin Brittore, as expected, polling in second with 12 after the monster few games he had whilst Bontempelli was out with injury.
Yeah, Ed Richards probably could have been recognised a bit more with 11, but the rest is sort of what you would expect. Aaron Norton polling games at the end of the year. Freya had those couple of really, really big games. And Matthew Kennedy finding his way at his new club. And it doesn't say here that there were any new votes. So, yeah, that's about what you expect. Any other weird ones? Riley Sanders getting a nice 2 votes. Harms still
Rory
getting
Lobb
votes.
getting a vote. James Harms getting a vote. Obviously, both having come from previous
Yeah.
teams that have been and are veterans of the league. They've definitely got votes elsewhere. Riley Sanders getting 2 votes is good to see. Joel Freer getting multiple 3 votes is also very good to see. Sam Darcy obviously getting recognised, not to mention the interesting mark of the year, which we'll talk about momentarily. Bailey Dale had a fantastic season. Tim English, fantastic season. Ed Richards, monster season. And it's the fact that like Aaron Norton managed to take away some of the votes, maybe take away some of the votes from Sam Darcy. But again, there were times where they were basically both having big bags against each other in that second half.
Yeah, exactly. Nah, I said Norton, I think, was by far the best forward in that for the last half of the year. I said, I almost took the Bulldogs to finals, really, but very unlucky to miss out.
Yeah. So let's move on now. I will start on with this. We are going to move on now to the Rising Star. And Matthew Reid, as we had mentioned just before, won the Rising Star. I believe he had a fair big lead in terms of Rising Star voting amongst the panelists, whoever votes for the Rising Star. I don't actually know. But according to the article, it says he was 13 votes ahead of Dan Curtin, and he is the 4th winner in Fremantle history for the Rising Star, with the last one being Caleb Sarong back in 2019.
All right, we're going to test this out. Am I back?
No, you're still not fixed. Not on my end.
Dang. Oh. All right, you have to improvise.
I'll improvise. I'll work it out. I don't know the best kind of way to talk about it. Again, I guess Sarek is the one who's more proficient in talking about Fremantle. But again, you look at some of the games, and there's the way that he kind of went about playing alongside that forward the forward line, of course. Of oh my god, I'm blanking. Josh Tracy and their other forwards. Thank you, Jai Amos. You're just actually it might be my end, honestly, but we'll keep going.
Okay.
And Patrick Voss, there we go. I got there eventually. Working alongside those tall forwards, being able to crumb for them, play a pressure role forward as well is fantastic for him. And
Yeah.
just the way he was also able to kind of do things that no other forwards were kind of really doing, is just so interesting to see.
Because he did get the record for goals and goal assists. Was goals assists or goal and score involvements for the year, which overtook Cyril's record. So that's very good company to be in. And field as well. He was absolutely fantastic. He was finding targets. His hands are so quick. You see a breakdown, and he is able to just on a dime, handball chain, release targets. And honestly, I think it's what they wanted Shai Bolton to be doing out the middle. But he was able just to do it. Like Shai Bolton still attends the centre bounces, but Murphy Reid in the general stoppages is someone that you have to pay attention to because he originally was a midfielder when he was picked up. Sort of learnt the forward craft. Well, sorry, not when he was picked up, but out parts of his high school career. So, yeah, as I said, fantastic player and very deserving of the Rising Star Award.
Sorry, I'm still trying to fix this, but yeah, like it's incredible, and again shows that Freo's recruiting has been really really good, from the draft over the past couple of years as well, and that they have a very solid future. Hopefully, none of these players will leave that they've managed to recruit. Again, Isaiah Dudley, we've spoken about a couple of times over the season. He's been fantastic for them as well. But yeah,
Yeah,
Murphy Reid, incredible young talent.
yeah, exactly.
All right, let's jump over now to Mark and Goal of the Year. These were a little bit controversial because the goal was kind of basic and the mark was apparently dropped. But Sam Darcy winning Mark of the Year and Noah Anderson winning Goal of the Year.
Yeah, honestly, I don't mind Darcy's winning it. I sort of had that rewalt thing, but I think it was more in the context of the game. It was really big, but it sort of gets lost when it's put in Mark of the Year finalists. But it is what it is. I still would have seen one of the speckies. I think it was Sam DeConing, or was it? No, Ollie Dempsey took a massive one. Jamie Elliott took a ripper again, didn't get recognised. So unfortunate there. And yeah, goal of the year. I don't know why they're obsessed with running bounce goals, but from the center, I mean, all it is running, handball chain, receive, kick. Like it's not even like it's not like you're evading any of the players or doing that, but it's like a team goal. So yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
Um,
I
yeah, so
I mean, when you don't really, when they give you like the options that are kind of very mid, like I don't know what more you can really pick.
yeah, I mean the Ashcroft one was at least nicer. And as I said, it was weird because I thought that was by far the most boring one of the three. But there were still other goals. Uh, yeah, as I said, I would have picked the I think it was the Anderson goals. I think that was the third one. I would have picked that one if I was to pick off those three. Ashcroft's was good, but still relied on a good bounce. But I think the soccer running away from goal in the wet was probably the most high skill and still pretty flashy goal of those three. And I think that would have been my pick of those.
Yeah, it's fair. I don't really have too much to say on this, to be honest. Like they're kind of here nor there. It's just it is what it is at this point. The AFL
Yeah,
offered us these options. This is what we're given, and this is what we accept. um,
exactly.
all right, our last bit of information and just bits to run through is that Lions captain Harris Andrews has won the Jim Stynes Community Award for a wonderful bit of community work that he has been doing over the past few years, with Beyond DV and a couple of other things, like the Ask a Maid initiative and things of that nature.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those things where obviously it's good to just see a bit of recognition. I know in terms of access and all that sort of thing, like AFL players have a better platform to get a lot of these things started and can do some really things, but you always like to see it happen. And some of them take it above and beyond. And obviously, this is a very good cause. And when you look at the other winners too, uh, there's a lot of players that you're looking sort of respect as people. Normally, it's the you know people that go and get the job done. Obviously, normally getting scared the high profile names. Arguably, the last couple of years it sort of hasn't actually. So that's nice to see. So hopefully that aligns to just recognizing that good work. But yeah, as I said, great cause, and as I said, it's hard to tell because obviously um, you know, I wouldn't know exactly how much and specific influence, but I mean, even if it helps one person in that area experiencing DV, if you're young and vulnerable, yeah, as I said, it's definitely worth acknowledging. So,
Yeah,
congratulations to Harris Andrews.
absolutely. The work he's been doing on and off field is absolutely incredible. And he stands among some very, very impressive talents as well for other winners of the Community Leadership Award. Starting back in 2012 with Daniel Jackson from Richmond, Zach Smith at the Gold Coast Suns in 2013, Bo Waters from West Coast in 2014, Dennis Armfield from Carlton 2015, Jimmy Bartell in 2016, Jack Hompsch from Port Adelaide in 2017, Neville Jetta from Melbourne 2018, Stephen Cornelio from GWS, of course, 2019, Basher Hooley in 2020, for the Basher Hooley Academy, which is still up and running to this day and has been very, very important for the Muslim and communities of those sorts of ethnicities to get involved with big community projects, as well as a gateway into the AFL. Travis Boak in 2021, Joel Selwood 2022, Sam Doherty 2023, and Riley O'Brien in 2024.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, again, great to see. And as I said, probably one of the least controversial awards given to the night. That and the Rising Star, probably.
Yeah, I think those two were kind of the only two that actually made the most sense. Everything else definitely has its own sense of controversies surrounding it.
What's the AFL without running a bit of jank?
Oh, there's a fair chance we're going to see some jank this weekend as well during the grand final, but we shall see. With that all out of the way, that brings us to the end of this bonus episode. I apologize for Tarek's microphone at the end. I don't know how to fix it. He doesn't know how to fix it. It's an is what it is situation. We'll be fine. But yes, thank you all so much for coming and hang out with us for this bonus episode. Of course, go check out socials and things of that nature, as we normally do. There will be our bonus episode next week will be a full breakdown of the grand final. Pretty much every player from the winner's side, maybe a couple of players from the loser's side. And we'll do a little bit of a kind of a run through what we kind of plan on doing during the off season. So, once again, we'll love you all and leave you all. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing, of course. And we will see you all next week. Take care.